Hi campers, we have made it through week 2, but I still have one more video I wanted to share with you, really addressing your domain name, your hosting, and the platform you're using for your website. So let's talk about your domain name first. Your domain name can be the name of your company, it can be your name, it can be a slogan or a phrase. It's the www.mycompany.com, what have you. Something I want you to understand is the difference between a .com and a .org. .com is always the preferred extension that we want to have on our websites. It's most commonly used. That's what people assume you have, and they're going to automatically type that in. A .org really designates a nonprofit organization. So I have seen for-profit organizations use a .org because the .com wasn't available, which is not appropriate or advisable. And the reverse is also true. A nonprofit really didn't know there was a difference. They were trying to grab that .com and they didn't use the .org. The .org, especially for nonprofits, you want to use that because that does, again, designate that you're a nonprofit organization, and it kind of helps the legitimacy of that. You can purchase both so that nobody else can claim it or come close to your name, and you can have the website drive to both. But just keep that in mind when trying to designate what your domain name is going to be. Another example is too that sometimes your name may be super long or difficult to spell, that people often have a typo when they're doing it, like Ferrara sausage. So when Chef Bo and I were talking about that, we knew people were going to spell it wrong, and so they would hardly get to his site, right? So he came up with Best Homemade Sausage because that's what he's proclaiming, that he has the best homemade sausage. And I would agree that he does. Best Homemade Sausage is also possibly a keyword that someone might type in when they're looking for his type of product. Most likely they're going to put in homemade sausage, but also if they're looking for the best, they're going to type in Best Homemade Sausage. So that's how we want people to be able to find him easier. And Best Homemade Sausage, especially once they meet him, develop that relationship, it's super easy to remember. They don't have to know how to spell it because it's super easy. So there's a few ideas there on the domain name. Domain names are going to cost you anywhere from, if there's a special, it could be $4.99, $5.99, and it could be up to $20. When you're doing a name search, it goes, yes, it's available, but it's $2,300. That means that someone has gone in there and purchased some highly desirable domain names, and they'll resell them to you. And I really don't like to get caught into that trap at all, so I try to be more creative. So the domain name is something that you would purchase. It was something that you would renew every year. And I believe you probably can buy them for 2 or 5 years and maybe save a little bit of money. For some reason, I always do year to year. Don't know what that's about. So, so it's a pretty nominal fee to secure that domain name. So once you have your domain name, you're going to need a place for your website to live, and that's a place where your website is going to be hosted. So you'll recognize some names like GoDaddy, and there's a lot of other hosts that you can purchase a domain name there, and they will host you, and they will have templates for you to create your website, but we're going to talk about that in a second. As far as your hosting, there's someone you're very rarely ever going to have to speak to. It should be pretty cut and dry. However, GoDaddy is one organization that I stay away from. If I've ever had a problem with anything to do with a website and hosting, it has been with GoDaddy. I've had clients that didn't even have a live website that were paying hundreds of dollars every year for hosting and website and email and all these packages. So they are all about sell, sell, sell. And if you don't understand that language, you can end up purchasing something that you really don't need. So, and people have lost their domain names because the notifications slipped through the cracks and they didn't get their domain renewed. So avoid GoDaddy if you can. There are other ones like you've heard of HostGator, Bluehost. There's one that a couple of my clients use called SiteGround. I personally asked other developers when I started doing this what their preferred one was, and I got the answer of Bluehost. And I've been super happy with them. Any frustrations I've had was because of my lack of knowledge at the time. So I had to learn real quick. But I do host a lot of websites under Bluehost, And usually when I do a website for someone, we put it under my hosting because I can save them money. It doesn't have to be that way, but that way I get the notifications. I'm going to give you a heads up and nothing falls through the cracks. But certainly you can choose whatever your own hosting is or something you prefer. But definitely one thing you want to check when it comes to hosting, because Bluehost does not charge you for this, and that is the SSL certificate that Google wants you to have to be recognized and show a secured site. So that can run, there's third parties that sell it to you, or your host will sell it to you. So it can be $150 a year and up per site, and Bluehost doesn't charge for that. So that's a huge savings right there. So that's a little bit about hosting. Hosting can cost you, I charge like $150. That's pretty competitive to some of the base packages out there. Plus the SSL is for free, and there's free unlimited emails accounts, so that you can have an email account for each department of your organization, or each person, or each whatever. So that's kind of nice, because some of those hosting companies will keep tacking that stuff on. So you just want to make sure in any case that you're comparing apples to apples on your costs. Okay, so that's it about hosting. I think those are the highlights on that. So like I said, I charge $150, and they can go up, way up from there. The platform, so you probably already know that WordPress is my favorite. I went kicking and screaming years ago. I was really resistant to it. Years and years ago when I first started out, I was using a platform like called Homestead. And Homestead is very similar to things like Weebly and Wix and Square, where you can buy the domain name there. They have templates, you can build it there, and everything's, you know, kind of what you see is what you get. It's all in there. So what I found as organizations grew, I loved using it. I really did. It was really fun to create in there for me. But what I found was that as clients needed more functionality, it wasn't really serving their needs. It wasn't growing with them. And at that time, there weren't a lot of the other features built in to help with SEO and other things and social media. Nowadays, there's all kinds of integrations. So like Weebly, Wix, Square, and things like that, it is your like one hub. They're really easy for people to do for the most part. You can jack them up, so have a plan when you go in there. But once you get to a certain point, it may you may outgrow it, and then you have to kind of start all over. So it's something to think about of what your long-term plan is. You may start out small and you want to build as you grow. Those are proprietary programs, so you can't take a template and take it somewhere else for hosting or what have you. So you're a little bit held hostage to them, that you have to pay whatever they want you to pay, and fees may go up, what have you. Not a big hairy deal. It's easy and it's turnkey. WordPress I love, because when you create that WordPress, or when I create one for a client, it belongs to them. So we can move it to any host that they want. We can make that site do anything possible. So you can start small and build big. And the thing about WordPress is 17% of people across the world are using WordPress. It's huge. It has a lot of support. It can do anything you want it to do. The possibilities are endless. So it was very intimidating the first time I went in there, but once you understand how it works and where to get to things, and they have made it a lot easier in the last couple years, it's really easy for you to go in and make some changes and do what you need to do. So just something to consider. There's a lot of these platforms do have tools built in to help, but I still think WordPress is kind of the best. That's just my opinion. So one other thing that's kind of cool, and I think I'm going to try this with, think Linda and I may have had this discussion about rhythmicities, but I thought about her when I heard about this, is that Google, the king of the world, the universe, Google now offers a free website. Now it's just like a one page, like a landing page, but sometimes that's all people need. Here's the thing. Facebook has been providing so many great tools, and we can't throw Facebook away, but sometimes I'm not sure where it's going or how much we're going to be held hostage or pulled back. So my thing is, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I was looking up some restaurants yesterday for a client, and I was trying to find their website, and it took me right to Facebook. So people are using Facebook as their website, which is cool. They're utilizing that tool to the max. Wonderful. However, a website gives more credibility to your business, and not everybody is on Facebook, and there are more and more people that are going to start resisting it. So yeah, use it. It's basically a free platform unless you're advertising, so why not? But also, even having that one-page landing page on Google, and they're going to take care of their own, right? So they'll be, that I think would really help in your SEO and populating your website. So I'm anxious to give that a try. It's got to be super user-friendly. So anxious to see what that's like. I don't know. So I'm assuming there's no cost at all, but then maybe there is a minimal fee, I don't know, for hosting or something. But hey, how groovy is that? There's always possibilities. So I hope that's helped you a little bit. I know it's a lot of information. I am always happy to chat with you, give me a call, meet in person if you're local, what have you. It's a lot of information to take in, and it's a big decision. It's not rocket science. It's not the end of the world. You can always change your mind, but I'd rather work forward instead of backwards. So ask the questions up front if there's anything you don't understand, and I can help you weigh it out. All right, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week, which I think is week 3, social media, the one you've been waiting for. Oh my God, it's going to be crazy. Talk to you later. Bye.